Hi, good afternoon to all of you. Would you mind taking your seats? We're just about to start session 8. Thank you. All right, so welcome back to all of you. Once again, we are here at the Integrated Design Research Conference 2024, and we're just about to get started with the final session, that is session number 8 of this year's conference. After this, we are heading in for a very interesting panel discussion which will take place in the evening as well. But for now, we are ready to get started with session number 8, and we're going to talk about some interesting topics that we have. We have 3 interesting presentations to take you through, based mainly on vernacular knowledge and practice. And to do the honors of taking forward this session, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our session chair, and of course our conference chair as well for IDR 2024, Dr. Sumantri Samaravikrama. Dr. Samaravikrama is a senior lecturer at the Department of Integrated Design, University of Moratuwa, and she holds a bachelor's degree in design and a MA in Design Arts from La Salle College of the Arts, Singapore, and also a PhD on the anatomy and historical development of Sinhala typefaces. And with nearly 14 years of teaching experience, her work spans both undergraduate and postgraduate levels as well. Dr. Sumantri's PhD research focused on building fundamental knowledge in Sinhala typography. Sumantri's work is dedicated to establishing the field of design within Sri Lanka, with particular interest in typography, in book design, local design history, and packaging design as well. She has also served as a vice president of the Association Typographique International, ATypi, from 2020 to 2022, and founded Sri Lanka's first design conference that we're witnessing here today, the Integrated Design Research Conference in 2022. It is with great pleasure that I now invite our session chair, Dr. Sumantri Samaravikrama, to take over.
So thank you so much. I'm quite excited and happy to announce the session 8, and I'm quite excited as well. We have some nice 3 presentations and 3 beautiful ladies as well. And so the first presentation will be on exploring the wisdoms of traditional agriculture related to ecocentric systems, a study on Attanwala village, Sri Lanka. And then we have the second presentation, an investigation into the challenges faced by batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka. And the third and the final presentation of the sessions and the conference would be on material utilization practices in Vevadene craft community, again from Sri Lanka. So very focused to Sri Lankan design and very very important areas of design as well, which also fulfills the vision of IDR. So girls, I would like you to take stage one by one. And so starting off, I would like to invite Tivanka Idrisinghe for her presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Tivanka Idrisinghe. So today I'm going to take you on a journey to the heart of Sri Lanka, where the ancient agricultural wisdom combines with modern design innovation. My talk, exploring the wisdom of traditional agriculture-related ecocentric systems, a study of Attanwala village, Sri Lanka, explores how a remote village can inspire us to rethink about sustainability, reliance, and also design itself. Attanwala, a lush Sri Lankan village hidden in the Knuckles mountain range, where the hum of nature sets the rhythm of life. Here, farming is more than an activity, it's a way of being. Every decision from planting to harvesting aligns with the cycle of nature and strengthens the cultural bonds. This presentation explores Atanwala village, whose ecocentric systems rooted in tradition offer profound lessons for contemporary design. So, the research problem is, how do the agricultural practices of Atanwala village embody ecocentric systems, and what insights can be gleaned from their integration into contemporary design thinking process? So, the research questions are, what are the constitutes ecocentric systems, and how do they exist in Sri Lankan traditional lifestyle? And the second problem is, how do the agricultural practices of Atanwala village incorporate ecocentric principles, and what are the insights of those systems? And finally, the third one is, how can those insights can be integrated with contemporary design thinking process? So, the objective of the research explores to how the agricultural related ecocentric systems in Atanwala village incorporate ecocentric principles and investigate the insights. Furthermore, the research aims to combine those insights into the modern design thinking process. So here we come to the plan of the research. So you can see the research plan contains in 7 main phases. The first one is planning. The second phase, literature survey. Third one, the methodology part. It contains in main 3 steps, which we'll explain later. And phase 6, analysis. And finally, the conclusion part. So as I mentioned before, the methodology conducted in 3 steps. The first one is methodology part 1, selection of villages for the case study. Methodology part 2, the pilot study to select suitable village, with the selected village. And methodology part 3, the data collection through individual interviews. So when I was, the biggest challenge of the research when I was conducting the research was finding a proper village for the study. At the beginning, I was focusing on to continue the research by doing several case studies, but as it was difficult to find proper and suitable villages for the research, it continued with one ethnographic case study method. So why exactly this Atanwala village? Atanwala village has a long history of practicing ecocentric agriculture, emphasizing sustainability, resourcefulness, and respect for nature. This deep-rooted tradition provides a rich foundation for understanding how ecocentric thinking has shaped the culture, material culture of the village, including product design. And most important part is, people are still living in that village, because most of the mountain villages became isolated as the younger generation moving on to the town, leaving those areas. So, okay, let's come back to the research flow again. As explained before, data were collected through observation, group interviews, and individual interviews. Qualitative data collection method were followed here. To analyze the collected data, interpretative phenomenological analysis method were used here. So, as shown in the chart, under the chart shown in here, so the independent variables of the research were all living and non-living things in the ecosystem, and the dependent variables are the 3 pillars of sustainability. So here comes to the exciting part. The lessons of Atanwala village extended beyond agriculture. 3 guideline principles emerge: respect for nature, design in harmony with natural process, adaptive resilience, build solutions that involve and endure, community engagement, involve all stakeholders, human and non-human things in the process. Imagine applying those principles into urban planning, product design, and even into the technology. What new possibilities could emerge? The potential applications are vast. For agriculture, reviving traditional systems could restore ecological balance. For design, Ecocentric principles could drive innovation while protecting ecosystems. For policy, these insights offer a framework for development that respect both people and nature. But beyond applications, there is a deeper message which this village teaches us. That is, sustainability isn't just about technology, it's about relationships between people, land, and also the future generation. So coming to the future directions, of course, challenges remains. Modernizations and migration threatens the survival of ecocentric principles. Scaling these systems requires collaboration across disciplines, industries, and governments. Future research might explore how these principles could work urban environment or how technology can enhance, not replace, traditional systems. To conclude, let's return to that lush village in Nakhon's mountain range at Attanwala. Ecocentric systems of Attanwala are more than a model for sustainability. There is a philosophy of balance and regeneration. By integrating this philosophy into the design thinking, we can create solutions that meet human needs while nurturing the ecosystems that sustain us. So comes to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Divanka. So this paper was actually co-authored by Mr. Lianage, architect Prasanna Lianage and Divanka. Sorry, I couldn't mention that before. So Divanka, this is quite an interesting, but I would have really preferred maybe in the next session in the Q&A to actually know about maybe a few pointers on the Attanwala village, key pointers that actually was ecocentric, which you can actually share with the audience. We'll get to that later. So with her presentation completed, we will have Reshani to present with the co-chair, Ms. Rwandika Senanayaka, an investigation into the challenges faced by the batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Hamalka Reshani from the Department of Integrated Design at the University of Moratuwa. Today, I will be presenting my research titled An Investigation into the Challenges Faced by Batik Craftsmen in Sri Lanka. This research explores batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka, focusing on its cultural significance, the evolution of the craft, and the factors influencing its current state. By examining the experience of batik craftsmen, the study provides valuable insight into how this traditional craft can be preserved and promoted for future generations. So, here is the outline of my presentation. I will start with an introduction, followed by the research problem, and then move on the methodology. Next, I will explain the key findings and conclude with recommendation based on my research. So, batik is a unique and traditional textile art that began in Indonesia over 1,000 years ago and has spread to many other parts of the world, including Sri Lanka. It's a traditional art form where wax and dye are used to create beautiful and detailed design on fabric. The purpose is complex and takes a lot of time, but it's a high-skilled art that is loved and appreciated by many cultures around the world. In Sri Lanka, batik has a long and rich history dating back to the 19th century. This art has been passed down through generations and it reflects the country's artistic traditions and cultural identity. However, despite its importance, batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka face many challenges that makes it difficult for them to continue practicing this art form. When talking about the process, the batik process begins with preparing a smooth, clean fabric, typically cotton or silk. Hot wax is applied using a canting tool to create design that resists dye. The fabric is dyed dried, and the wax is removed to reveal the design. This process may be repeated with different colors for detailed patterns, ending with a final wash to showcase the completed batik. When talking about the objectives of my research, the first objective of this research is to investigate how batik is practiced in Sri Lanka. This involves exploring the methods, techniques, and traditions that define batik artistry in the country. And the second objective is to identify how craftsmen batik practice as an unique craft. This focuses on understanding the skills, creativity, and cultural significance behind each piece of batik art. The third objective is to analyze the challenges faced by batik craftsmen. This aims to highlight the obstacles that hinder their ability to continue and grow the craft in Sri Lanka. When talking about the research problem, according to the literature, batik has not seen clear development as industry for growth and social recognition in Sri Lanka. One of the main reason for this the lack of proper documentation and clear evidence regarding the challenges faced by batik craftsmen. The purpose of this project is to fill this gap by identifying and understanding the specific challenges that batik craftsmen encounter in various regions of Sri Lanka. Thereby, this is supposed to by finding how batik is practiced in Sri Lanka and how craftsmen are practicing batik as an unique craft. The identified problem for the research is the lack of literature that has recorded the challenges batik craftsmen face in practicing batik craft in the current Sri Lankan context. The methodology. This section focuses on exploring, analyzing, and answering the research questions with qualitative case study approach. The study investigated how the interviews were conducted and analyzed through thematic analysis methods. This process revealed how the data analysis were conducted with deductive manual coding to gain the result of the research objectives. For this study, I used a qualitative approach with the case study design to understand the challenges faced by batik craftsmen. A pilot study was done first to test the interview questions and make sure they were clear and effective for gathering useful information. There were some limitation to the study. The sample size was small with only 5 craftsmen from different districts such as Puttalam, Kandy, Colombo, Kurunegala, and Galle. Because of this, the findings may not apply to all batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka. Despite these limitations, the study still offers valuable insight that can help improve support for the batik industry and preserve this important cultural craft. When talking about this table, 5 expert interviews were conducted with batik craftsmen holding diverse roles in the industry. Each participant had over 5 years of experience, ensuring they provided informed insights into the challenges faced by Sri Lankan batik craftsmen. To maintain simplicity, participants were referred to as C1, C2, C3, C4, and C5, with their roles and experiments summarized in the table. These interviews offered a broad perspective on the industry challenges, enriching the study's findings. As you can see, this mood board showcases about case 1, which means the selected area Kandy district, and the selected area was Katugastota. The craftsman's work is deeply tied to the area's rich cultural and religious traditions. Motifs like temple, art, and festival scenes are common in their designs, reflecting Kandy's status as a cultural hub of batik. When talking about this mood board, it's about Colombo, and the selected district was a Moratuwa area. The craftsman from Moratuwa in the Colombo district operates in the more urban settings, catering to modern taste while still preserving traditional techniques. This craftsman shared how work in a city allows them to experiment with bold, innovative design to meet diverse customers' demands. The craftsmen from Moratuwa in the Puttalam district brought insight from a region known for its vibrant yet traditional batik styles. This has a mix of coastal influences that inspires unique color palettes and motifs often reflecting the nature and the surroundings. In Batuwan Tudawa, the selected craftsmen showcased a southern influence on batik designs. This region is known for its maritime culture, which inspires ocean-themed patterns and traditional craftsmanship, keeping a strong connection to the area's identity. Finally, the craftsman from Mavathagam focuses on design influenced by rural landscapes. Their batik captures the simplicity and beauty of nature, blending traditional craftsmanship with modern influences. Let me now introduce this table, which highlights the key themes and quotes derived from the case study interviews. The aim was to understand the challenges faced by batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka. The challenges were categorized into 4 main themes, such as cultural impact, socio-economic challenges, production challenges, and environmental challenges. So when talking about the cultural impact, batik craftsmanship in Sri Lanka faces challenges in maintaining its traditional handmade process, while modern influences are adding new design to batik. There is a risk that this could devalue its unique handcrafted nature. The rise of mass production and the use of synthetic dyes are also threatening the authenticity of the craft. The reliance on traditional method is important for preserving batik's cultural significance, but sticking too rigidly to these methods could limit innovation and growth. The increase in popularity of mass-produced batik made with lower quality material further diminishes the value of the traditional batik. When talking about the socio-economic challenges, batik craftsmen struggled with limited market access, often relying on local fairs and tourist sales. This reduced their income and exposed to potential buyers, as well as the lack of formal market was a significant barrier. The other thing is, as well as government support was another challenge. Unlike in countries like Indonesia, Malaysia, Sri Lankan artists did not receive much backing, making it harder for them to improve or sustain their businesses. There was also a lack of social awareness with cheap limitation, including the market, confusing consumers and hurting the sales of authentic batiks. Finally, another socio-economic challenge is the lack of awareness about batik. As craftsmen mentioned, the market is full with cheap, low-quality limitations, which confuses consumers and lower the value of authentic handmade batik. This makes it difficult for artisans to sell their products at their businesses and fair prices. When talking about the environmental challenge, let's now talk about the environmental challenges in batik industry. Many batik craftsmen use toxic chemicals like dyes, wax and solvents in their craft. If not disposed of properly, these chemicals contaminate water and soil, harming aquatic life and local communities. In addition, burning wax and solvents releases pollution into the air, causing breathing problems. Additionally, the waste from fabric scraps and chemicals is difficult to manage and can pollute the environment. A major issue is the lack of eco-friendly alternatives. Many artisans still use harmful chemicals because sustainable practices are not widely available in Sri Lankan context. When talking about the production challenges, one of the main challenges faced by batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka is supply chain disruptions. The storage and high cost of essential raw material make it difficult for small-scale artisans to keep up with production. The raw material make it, the COVID-19 pandemic made the situation worse, causing delays in the sourcing materials and increasing financial difficulties for them. The pandemic significantly affected the availability of raw materials, transportations and market accesses, leading to lower incomes and higher unemployment among batik craftsmen. Another challenge is technological limitations. Sri Lankan batik artisan is still rely on traditional time-consuming techniques, which makes it harder for them to meet growing demands. In conclusion, the study successfully achieved its three objectives through the analysis and findings presented in the table. First, it found that batik in Sri Lanka is entirely handmade, with artisans involved in every step of the production process. The second one is batik is unique due to the motifs, color palettes and artistic talent of Sri Lankan craftsmen. Lastly, the study identifies several challenges faced by batik craftsmen, impact socio-economic challenges, environmental challenges like chemical contamination, and production challenges like raw material lack and technological constraints. The finding highlights the need for initiatives to support artisans, raise awareness and adapt sustainable practice to ensure the future of batik Sri Lanka. The table summarizes these findings and conclusion based on the thematic analysis of the interview. When discussing recommendation for the future of Sri Lankan batik, several key actions can be taken to support and sustain this craft. To help support the Sri Lankan batik industry, it's essential to educate consumers on the value of handmade batik. Public awareness campaigns and educational programs can be used to highlight the cultural significance and quality of batik products, helping to increase demand for authentic batik. In addition, it's crucial to document and preserve the craft. Creating archives or database in collaboration with a government institute will safeguard the traditional knowledge and techniques, ensuring they are passed on the future generation. For improving the economic situation of batik craftsmen, recommended facilitating better market accesses. This will allow a craftsman to reach broader market and sell their products more effectively. Financial support programs like grants, subsidies or low interest loans will also help craftsmen improve their businesses. Lastly, encouraging the formation of cooperative will promote collective efforts, enable craftsmen to share resources, address challenges together and access large markets. This will not only strengthen the community but also improve the sustainability and the growth of Sri Lankan batik industry. So this is the end of my presentation. I hope it has provided valuable insight into the challenges faced by batik craftsmen and the importance of preserving this traditional art. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you, Reshani. Quite interesting. We'll get into the questions later. So we will move on to the third and the last presentation of the whole conference. Quite excited to welcome Tilini, and co-authored, this paper is co-authored by Ms. Chaturika Nugavela, and the paper is authored as, titled as Material Utilization Practices in Vevaldeniya Craft Community in Sri Lanka. So over to you, Tilini.
Good afternoon. I'm Telini Deshanika. So I'm going to present my research about material utilization practices in Vevaldani craft community, Sri Lanka. So what is Vevaldani craft community? The craft industry in Sri Lanka has an integral part of the economy for centuries, contributing to both rural livelihoods and national trade. The Vevaldania craft community in Sri Lanka has a rich heritage producing intricate and culturally significant craft items using traditional techniques. This community stands as a vibrant and culturally significant collective of craftsmen renowned for their unwavering dedication to traditional craftsmanship and the creation of exquisite handmade products. It has positioned in the Mirigama electorate, Gampa district of the Western Province, which encompasses approximately 650 families residing across 6 Grama Niladhari divisions. So the research gap that I have identified is currently this craft community faces unprecedented challenges in sustaining its age-old traditions while adapting to contemporary demands. A central and pressing issue that plagues this community is the effective utilization of available materials in the face of resource shortages and the escalating costs of raw materials. This reduces the community's ability to produce intricate and aesthetically pleasing crafts with limited resources, serves as a compelling testament to their integrity and adaptability. So my research problem is based on how the craftsmen of the Vevaldani craft community implemented sustainable material utilization practices to address the challenges posed by resource scarcity and increase of raw material cost to ensure the long-term viability of their craft production processes. So I formulated 3 research questions to investigate about materials they currently used, how they integrate those materials at each stage of the production process to create products, and which kind of sustainable strategies and techniques to optimize the utilization materials that they are currently implementing. The aim of this research is to investigate and analyze the material utilization practices within the Vevaldani craft community with a specific focus on how these practices related to principles of 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle, and pull system in lean manufacturing strategies. So I created a conceptual framework based on the existing literature to facilitate a comprehensive investigation of a study, providing a structural plan and theoretical foundation that enhances the research. The conceptual framework encompasses the integration of the 3R principles and lean manufacturing strategies as independent variables, with a focused consideration on the material utilization as the dependent variable. In accordance with the existing literature, moderator variables are identified, including craftsman skills, production techniques, design of the products, and technology integration. I identified exploratory descriptive research is suitable for investigation material utilization practices in the Vevaldani craft community, as the research questions aim to explore the described and types of material use, the integration processes, and the implementation of sustainable strategies and techniques. As the research approach, I selected mixed method with a qualitative dominant focus to understand the context better. To conduct a manageable study, it was necessary to select a representative but small sample of the crafts community. Therefore, a stratified random sampling approach was employed. The strata selected for this study encompass craftsmen and shop owners, further segmented into distinct subgroups experienced and novice, micro-scale enterprises and small-scale enterprises, for more specific categorization and analysis. The main methods of data collection included semi-structured interviews with narrative questions, questionnaire survey, and video observations. For the analysis of data, thematic analysis as used. The available merchandise products in the Wevaldeniya craft community are systematically categorized into several classifications, each delineated by specific functional and length parameters. The research analysis categorized craft production into distinct stages. Crafts items were systematically evaluated based on the progression through these stages, aligning with their respective stages of production. The weight percentage of the waste generated varies at each stage, influenced by the specific craft item and its size category, revealing distinct patterns in waste generation. Then, each production stage of craft item is systematically analysis within the framework of the 3R principles: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Then I conducted an analysis of the integration of material utilization practices in craft production aligned with the 3R, reduce, reuse, recycle principles, alongside with their corresponding moderating variables. After the analysis, I created a graphical representation indicates that the majority of waste generated within the craft production process. Throughout production, 5 types of leftovers are generated: offcuts, trimmings, strands, dust, and discarded materials, with offcuts comprising about 40% and trimmings about 27% of the total waste. Upon closer examination, a notable trend emerges indicating that a significant majority of waste materials within these two categories falls within the length range of 15 cm to 30 cm. Offcuts exceeding 15 cm used in crafting smaller items and product handles, while those over 30 cm pieces are repurposed for specific baskets catering to gem industry in Medigama. Trimmings over 20 centimeters are used in weaving string hopper molds and small products, promoting sustainable utilization of leftover materials. Within the 3R framework, there is discernible deficiency in the implementation of utilization strategies during the scraping and finishing stages of furniture production. For both utilitarian and ornamental furniture, the reduce strategy is effectively employed through the use of rattan in its natural state, retaining the epidermis. This approach aligns with customer preferences and minimal material removal. However, during the splitting stage, the use of hand tools essential for the process paradoxically increase waste, indicating a lack of effective reduction strategies. And also, key finding that I gained is the production of small items lacks integrated utilization strategies, highlighting a significant gap in waste management, while large and medium-sized items demonstrate better incorporation of the 3R strategies, enhancing material utilization and waste reduction. So the analysis of material utilization practices within the craft production aligned with 3R principles and moderating variables reveals key observations. Technologically integration has a neutral impact on existing material utilization practices, but production techniques positively influence current reduction and reuse practices. Additionally, craftsman skills and product design significantly enhance most reduction and reuse practices. Notably, no recycling methods are observed in the assessed craft production methodologies. So, in the manufacturing framework of the Wevaldeniya craft community, small and micro level enterprises adhere to a structural production process, emphasizing the full system of lean manufacturing. This approach focuses on producing goods in response to actual demand rather than relying on forecasts or pushing products into the market. So after conducting the research, there are some future recommendations that I have identified which helps to sustain rattan industry in Wevaldeniya. Especially in-depth research is necessary to tailor recycling methods specifically to rattan materials and crafting byproducts. The absence of technological integration in utilization practices prompts an inquiry into the potential benefits of modern tools or machineries within crafting processes, and also comprehensive research into diverse sustainability approaches can significantly enhance the local rattan industry. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. I'm quite honored to have three beautiful ladies presenting something very important, which is on vernacular knowledge. So to start our Q&A session, I would like to invite the three ladies to come up to stage. And the audience, I would like to hear some, well, if you all have any inquiries or concerns, do ask up speakers, presenters, anything that you would think would help you in your journey of research. Also, I just want to highlight, do we have, okay, so we'll open up the questions. Before we open up, we'll also have a small discussion among this. Can we have any questions for the first speaker, Ms. Tivanka Ediri Singha? There's a question here in the front row.
So, could you elaborate on your decision to use an ethnographic approach in your research, and how did it contribute to your findings, the richness and depth of your findings?
Do we have a mic? We need another mic.
Thank you for the question. So basically what I did in my research was studying about the how they farming, how their income happening, like their lifestyle, whole lifestyle. So in ethnographic case study method, we are that means ethnography and case study. So under that method, I can study all about their lifestyle, all the points. So that's why I have followed that method for my research. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm just going to add in, and as I mentioned in the previous, when you were presenting, I would also want to know maybe a few examples from this ecocentric system that you are talking about, maybe anything that we can take away, because your presentation was mainly focused on the methodology. It'll be nice to hear.
Okay, I'll start from explaining about ecocentrism. So ecocentrism means giving equal right to all the living and non-living thing in ecosystem. So not giving center to the human, it directly affecting to the environmental sustainability. You all know that sustainability means the connection between environmental, social and economic sustainability. So I followed that, I taken those three pillars as independent variables, and the living and non-living things as dependent variables of my research. So I will take, it's a broader thing to explain. So I will take one example, like harvesting, in paddy harvesting. So in harvesting, the people in Atanwala village, they are getting together. Like if it is my paddy field, all the other farmers are coming to help me. That completes the social sustainability, social and cultural, and also they are worshipping. Those things goes to the cultural sustainability. And when they are getting the harvest, they just not selling all the things. They are keeping some for the next farming session, like they're managing everything. That goes to the economic sustainability. And also, when it comes to harvesting process, they are not taking poor days, like it will harm and get some, pow to their child. They are not concerning about harming the animals as well. That goes to the environmental sustainability. So all the three pillars are completing there, that we can take as ecocentric process, ecocentric like activity. So that's how I have proved all the things, all the steps of paddy harvesting there. So that's it.
Thank you. I'm sure there is quite a bit which you can't summarize in the presentation. So thank you. We will move on to the second presenter. We have Rashani presenting on the challenges faced by the batik craftsmen. Any questions for Ms. Rashani from the audience?
I would like to know how did you conduct sampling process, whether you faced any challenges during the process or any tips that you followed?
Thank you for the question. Actually, I used a purposive sampling method. That's mean when I took craftsmen, I consider about their experience, their knowledge, and the diversity, and the population, especially demographic and geographical influences, and as well as the cultural impact. For an example, there was a literature review about the National Craft Council. There was a 2041 batik craftsmen were registered, and most of them from Kandy district. So according to that, so I selected Kandy as a area to do my research. So likewise, how I did my sampling method. So basically, geographical and demographical concerns are mainly focused when I'm doing the sampling collecting method. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'm just also want to mention that these three presentations that you all saw today was more into actually something, so it falls under the area of vernacular knowledge and practice. In another sense, if these three students, sure these were, when they were presenting, I'm sure you all understood that they were most biased towards their dissertation, I believe. And you know, that type of dissertations or this type of knowledge that they have actually tried to grasp is the starting point of why research is important. And these vernacular practices are, especially if they had not done it, we wouldn't even start talking. So like for example, batik. We know batik, we have seen batik, but we never go and question these things that could actually help the future or to sustain this. So in the dissertations itself, I believe in the research, which I have to congratulate all three of you all for documenting most of this content, which actually can be used in the future of the students, the next lot, who can actually refer to your work and maybe maybe develop these further and actually get into the areas that needs further research. So congratulations, especially on the fact that you all have chosen this, which is very unique to Sri Lanka and also very unique to this region. We'll also move on to the third speaker. Any questions for the third speaker? Which is on the Vevaldeniya craft community. Yes.
First, I would like to say that was an interesting project. And my question is, as Vevaldeniya, there is another context known as Bibile, which is known as another context which is produces cane-related products. And also, it's known as a rural area, and they face different types of problems, such as like they have to go for the forest to harvest cane, then they get to themselves and do the production, and also another problem that they are facing is they have to find a proper market. So likewise, they have a list of limitations in that context. So I was wondering, as I know that Vevaldeniya is a suburban context, so what are the limitations that in that context that you had to face?
So thank you for the questions. So in Vevaldeniya, I have identified the limitations, especially their increased cost of materials and scarcity of raw materials. They probably import rattan from Indonesia, Malaysia. They use that kind of material. 60% of their products are made from exported materials, and they also use another local rattan as well. But the local rattan also they have to import from other areas in Sri Lanka, especially Polonnaruwa, likewise, they have to import. So it has an additional cost for importing from those areas as well. So to address this question, I identified what are the techniques and strategies they are currently following. So my research is basically about those practices.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So do we have any more questions from the audience? Yes.
I would like to ask my question from both craft-related projects, like second and third.
Yeah.
So one of you have done batik, and the one is cane craft. So for both, I would like to ask that I think in batik presentation you have mentioned you have identified a problem in supply chain. So like that, did you identify any way that they are trying to, those craft person are trying to export the product? Like do they stuck with anywhere, or is there any any problem they have struggling to exporting it, or is there any way that we can give a solution as designers? Yeah.
Okay, I think it's a different perspective of a question. So what the question is, if this craft is supposed to be exported, any challenges of that nature?
Yes.
Yeah.
Basically, some areas like I interviewed a batik craftsman instructor, like a teacher. She's from Kurunegala, and she's very talented and she has the knowledge and everything, but she don't know how to brand it. She only do is some doing batik classes and introduce teaching about the process and everything. But there is another person, the famous batik artist in Sri Lanka. I interviewed from Maravil area. He also a designer, so he know the designing process, and he know how to export and how to interact the peoples to this craft. The gap between two craftsmen, the knowledge. So as a designers, we can we can document in these our designing perspectives, and we can give some knowledge and some other perspectives for them, how to do designing thing, how to think out of the box, because the Kurunegala person, he always followed the same designs, like elephant pattern, elephant motifs, temple motifs, and likewise. But the other designer, the batik artist, he always designed new things, like abstract designing, some new techniques, new designing. So consumers attract for those designs more than the Kurunegala, the person. So yeah, the gap is the knowledge. Knowledge and the knowledge is the most the knowledge is the gap for between those craftsmen. So yeah.
Thank you. So I would say, I'm sure that's, so branding would be just one perspective of the export area. So it's lovely. So I was actually observing when you were presenting on the fact that there's so much of knowledge on what you have been doing. And it's wonderful to see that. So again, I would want to congratulate the three of you, especially if you, the three presentations were mainly on three communities, which was on, ecocentric farming or agriculture, and then we understood Batik, and then we went into Vevaldenia. So these three are all communities which actually has knowledge within the community. The difference, what these dissertations or the research these presenters did today is actually taking that knowledge and making sure that it can be documented and taken forward. And then, of course, so one day that this, at least your dissertations or your research and or your work here, which was presented, will be left. And of course, the starting point of it. And also, within the three presentations, one of the key things what I've noticed is most of you all only spoke about your methodology. So basically about the research itself, which is quite interesting as well, but would have, it gave a lot of information on how much of information that, or the stages or the amount of work that you need to do to get that data. So thank you again, and I'm quite delighted to have chaired this session. And with this, we would conclude. So before concluding, we will hand over your certificates of presentation.
Thank you very much. So as we come to the end of session 8, the last session today, I would like to invite presenters to accept these certificates. First presentation that we had was authored by Edrisinghe WDTN and co-authored by Lianage UPP. The topic being exploring the wisdom of traditional agriculture-related ecocentric systems, a study of Atanwala village, Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for your presentation, and I would like to invite our chair to present the certificate. And next, we would like to congratulate and invite Reshani AAD, the author, and of course, co-authored by Senanaik RJ. The topic was an investigation into the challenges faced by batik craftsmen in Sri Lanka, and this certificate is for you and your co-author. Thank you very much for your presentation. And finally, we would like to say thank you and congratulate Deshanika T, who co-authored with Nugavela CT, Material Utilization Practices in Vevaldenia Craft Community, Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for your presentation as well. So once again, thank you very much for all three of you for those wonderful presentations, and a big thank you to our session chair, Dr. Sumantri Samaravikrama as well. With that, we've concluded the final session of IDR 2024, but we do have a very special panel discussion coming our way at 6 o'clock, so I think it's going to be a very interesting session which will talk about, on the topic, rather from old verandas to new spaces, the journey of the planters chair. We have some very special invited panelists coming in the evening as well. So we do want all of you to be here to witness this very interesting panel discussion. We start at 6 p.m. So if you can be in your seats by 5:45, we can start promptly at 6 p.m. Thank you very much, and see you in the evening. So we have another announcement that we have somewhere refreshments being served for you at 5:30. So you can enjoy the refreshments at 5:30 and come in for the panel discussion happy and full. So 5:30 you can come, enjoy the refreshments and be in your seats by 5:45. We can start at 6 p.m. Thank you.